Welcome to Dorker Realms. While most gamers will be familiar with Dungeons & Dragons from the newest edition of the game, there's a movement amongst some players called the Old School Revival, taking inspiration from the design philosophy of the earliest editions of D&D and bringing them into the modern era. These games and adventures emphasize the weird, the challenging, and the hardcore. Bear witness as our intrepid players explore unusual and dangerous tales in these old school adventures. In this episode, we will be playing Scenic Dunnsmouth by Zzarchov Kowolski using the Lamentations of the Flame Princess role-playing system. These can be found anywhere fine dork games are sold. We go now to the table to delve into Dorker Realms.
Welcome back to another episode of Dorker Realms. I'm your main character, Bindell L. Johnson, played by Ryan Roberts.
And hello, I am Paul, and I will be playing Bindell, your other main character. I'm kidding. It's me, I'm Paul. I also do stupid-ass voices, and I'll be playing Mervyn Supreme.
Hello, I'm Danny, and I will be playing Bindell Johnson.
It's Bindell L. Johnson!
Bindell L. Johnson!
Hello, I'm Robin, and I will be playing Wendell Johnson.
Bindell's twin brother! I thought I killed you back at the library!
No, I'm Robin, I'm playing Willow. My pronouns are they, them, her pronouns are she, her.
I'm Vox. I'll be playing Petra.
Oh, Mr. Vox doesn't get to go with the joke, has to break it up.
Come on, even I
It
tried.
had been done 3 times. What other iteration was I
I
going to do?
mean, you could do it better than me, is the thing.
I don't know. I'm not sure I could.
Russian Bindell would have been so good!
Hello, I am
please.
Bindell L. Johnson.
Oh,
I'm Bindell L. Johnson.
Aw.
oh, okay. Take it away for us, GM.
Okay, well, in our previous adventure, you managed to return to Earth at the end, except for 2 of you who have never been to Earth before, but now this is your home. And it's been about 5 months since then in game time, so I guess we'll start with a little summary of what all of these upstanding members of society have been doing.
Why are
in
you
all
looking
that
at me when
time.
you said that? I haven't done anything questionable.
Well, Bindell just vanishes
Well-
shortly after you guys get back.
But before he does, he leaves me with one of the spell books. Was it the...
Tanner's spellbook.
Tanner's
yes.
spell book, yeah.
So you can record some of your own spells now that you're a real spellcaster.
Yeah,
That was
Willow
nice of
spends
them.
half her time bar crawling to understand Earthlings, and the other half of her time locked up in her room copying spells into her spell book. Just, normal elf things.
A productive 5 months.
Yes, very productive. What's Moyvin doing during all this time?
Since I don't know many of your ways, and you guys seem to have a lot more humans than you do other creatures, I started in the slums. That's where I feel comfortable. And, so I says, hey, Sheila, why don't you, oh, wait, where was I? Oh, right. I just got some ears on the streets, went to a couple of rich folks' parties, got to lay the land, and, pawned off some of the stuff I didn't need. And I've been sleeping in bars and Baroness's beds ever since.
And how has Petra spent her 5 months on Earth?
Well, in addition to helping with the preparation of the cure light wound potions that I think every member of the party now has, Petra has spent some time familiarizing herself with this part of the world's version of Catholicism. Because if you remember when she was first introduced, she indicated...
That's an interesting question. Sorry to sidetrack your story.
All right.
Where are we?
Oh, did we not
We
say
just know we're in Europe again. You didn't tell us where we are.
Green
Because I know you were talking about not setting us back in Britain because we left with some religious folk a little upset at us.
Well,
maybe?
we assume, because we didn't come back, and we didn't do what they wanted.
What's that? It's like right across the channel from Britain at that point in time. Was it Burgundy?
Oh, Normandy?
Normandy, yeah. Okay, we'll put you there.
Okay.
Fairly close to home.
Okay. Okay.
Home.
Sorry about that.
one
I
of
just,
you.
I
No,
just forgot that we didn't know where we actually were.
So, back then, I don't think the Normans even actually were Catholic then,
Well,
were they?
remember, we're late 1600s at
Right.
this point, so I don't know. We're not in my field of expertise any longer,
Yeah.
or random knowledge, but yes.
Send all your complaints on the accuracies historically to Dorker Realms.
Don't do that.
Then, at the very least, she's going to seek out the local religious leaders or centers of religion to see what is practiced here, so that she doesn't.
It's Catholicism. What a coincidence!
Oh, hey!
Yay!
But is it like the Western Europe Catholicism standard, or
It would be.
I guess it probably won't matter that
It
much.
would be a different denomination.
Sorry, this
but
is
yes.
more Vox questions that probably aren't all that important.
So
Okay.
Okay.
So sorry, she'll be familiarized. She'll spend some time getting to know local religious leaders and maybe ingratiating herself in that respect.
So Ryan, what is their experience of Bindell Johnson?
Well, so we get back, and for like a little while, he's in his room copying spells, not unlike Willow, and hangs out for a bit. Then he goes and researches a new spell for a while, and then he goes, "Guys, I'm going to be back in like a couple months. Just wait for me here, and I'll see you in a bit." And he just disappears, and then he comes back into town with a new companion who's in a really big guy who's just in a cloak that you can't see like anything, and he has a new pet snake. And how big is this snake, Dan? Because I know you were on the fence.
It's got to be like 12 feet.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Bigger.
It's gotta be he has a big ass snake with him.
Is the companion the one carrying it, or is Bindell wrapped
No,
up in
the snake. The snake is just
Oh,
it's on its own. It's
on
with him
a
though.
little leash.
Is this boa constrictor or anaconda?
It is poisonous.
Oh, so not boa.
Definitely not boa. Definitely not anaconda. But it's huge.
Because anacondas are the biggest. Pretty sure.
And my anaconda don't want none unless you got butter,
Well-
son.
This is much bigger than any venomous snake.
Yes, it's much bigger than any venomous snake, and it is nothing you have ever seen.
Is it like a
You
snake?
or your character. It is a snake.
Well, I mean, I'm not from Earth, so...
Sure, but
You don't know what kind of snakes
I
I'd be looking at.
also he won his horse and his mule back. He found a wandering priest who just happened to have him, and he played a game of poker for them and won them back. So
The ones he had before he left?
yeah, I have Horseshoe Muley again and Snakey. And, he comes back with those after 3.5 months of, going God knows where. And, then he made some potions with everyone and, just acted like everything was fine. And we'll see how it plays out in game, because I assume you guys will have questions about these new NPCs with us. Snakey. And the other guy, whose name is Arsis 2.
So, you have a pet now and also a boyfriend.
I have a bodyguard
Wow.
I found in the very same place that I discovered this incredibly rare species of snake that I tamed, and is perfectly loyal and will do everything I say.
I freaking
So,
hate it.
his name is Fenrir, and her name is Nagini, and you're Lord Voldemort.
No. This is Snakey,
Uh-huh.
and he is Arsis 2. Notice the comparison between Arsis and Arsis 2. Say something, Arsis?
Wow.
2?
Was Arsis one of the people that we had in our party?
He was the guy with the bear thing and the spear,
Yeah,
and he had
that's
the
what I
tongue
thought.
cut out.
Yeah.
Arsis 2.
Gotcha.
They're both perfectly loyal to me and will never falter. Also, I don't pay them.
They must be loyal to.
So you have
not
a
to
pet
pay.
and a slave.
Wow.
I don't know if I want to use the
Do you
word...
identify as a slave?
Wow.
I don't know if we should bring slaves into this, alright? Look, I don't know what you heard, but it's definitely not true, okay?
He's very monosyllabic.
I heard unintelligible sounds from...
Oh, we're just cool with the devil's dicks wriggling around as a pet.
I hired one more guy too, but I left him where I found him to guard the place.
Willow's gonna take a dead rat
Also,
out of her
I don't know-
pocket and
I don't
offer it
know
to
if-
the snake.
I don't-
Oh my god, you're awful. Freaking
Go ahead, Snakey. Don't bite her.
The snake eats the dead rat without biting Willow.
Also, I don't know if we should call the one I left behind a he or a she. It's more of an it. Well, no, it's got some female characteristics for sure.
I'm gonna go back into stealth.
Anyway, I'm ready for the adventure when you are. What are we doing, guys? Has anyone heard any cool rumors? Anything?
Not really.
I need more money. I spent all my money.
So, as is the way with adventuring folk, whereas most people would get a job to actually, contribute something to society, you're like, we need to make some cash fast. How do we make a lot of money right away? And eventually you receive an invitation from a Count Robert, who claims to know Bindel through a mutual acquaintance, a merchant of sorts.
Yeah, definitely know this. Don't look at me that way. It's perfectly above board and legal. There's nothing shady about it. Petra, I do not like the accusation you are implying.
Petra has said nothing.
I know, and I can see that in your eyes, Petra.
Petra, you do have very expressive eyeballs.
Come on, Snakey, let's go.
Petra will
Arsus?
take this as compliment.
Well,
Petra.
Snakey and Artis will follow Bindel, as always.
Hey, we got nothing better to do. Petra's going along for sure. Especially if this pans out in such a way that it is shady and she gets to arch that eyebrow at Bindel L. Johnson again.
Oh, hopefully he won't bring up how we know each other.
Mervyn?
Sure, I'll come along, but I'm gonna keep my distance from whatever the fuck that thing is.
Which one?
I mean, Arsis 2. Who doesn't like a good Arsis 2, you know? Great conversationalist, excellent odor. That fucking thing.
You think Arsis 2 smells bad? Whew. You should have met the other one I left behind.
What? I said he smelled good. Are you not hearing me?
Oh, I thought you were being sarcastic because Arsis 1 smelled so bad.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm
He
just
was
saying
not there for the
stuff.
first Narcissus.
Yeah.
Willow gonna tag along as well?
I said that, yeah.
Oh,
For sure.
sorry, I missed that. Alright, so the party make their way to the home of Count Robert, which is a pretty nice little manor, and you're welcomed in by a butler who takes you up to Count Robert's study, where he's sitting in a big plush coat, a big furry hat, and he's got a pipe that he lights up, and he's like, "Thank you for coming."
Of course, a business acquaintance such as yourself can always call on the great Bindel L. Johnson.
Yes, I understand you're a man of great means and flexible attitude.
That describes me perfectly.
I don't think you're that mean.
Also, did you not just say you are out of money?
Don't let the rich folk know you don't have any money. They respect you once if you don't have any money.
Well, that's actually rather convenient for me, as I had hoped to hire you for a job.
Well, we will definitely accept not because we're completely out of money and need work, but because we are interested in making more money so we always have more.
What is this we? I'm not out of money.
I am also not out of money.
Snakey and Arsis are part of my we. I speak as a collective.
Where is Snakey going to keep money? Snakey doesn't have any pockets.
Snakey doesn't need any money. He gives all his wages to me.
He's perfectly loyal. Why would he need to carry money?
Snakey is also a slave.
You see
Almost.
Mervin's posture change, and he kind of clears his throat. And he's just like, "I'm sorry for my colleagues and their demeanor for the moment. We are
What
okay with
just
funds,
happened?
but yes, I am quite intrigued. For we are adventurers, and that is what we do."
Well, that is excellent, because I was hoping to hire you for a slightly unusual task.
Detect evil. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I am all ears.
I have been tracking down rumors for some time about a powerful magical artifact which supposedly is able to slow the effects of aging and prolong one's life. Heard it whispered about from various people in your profession, Monsieur Johnson.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Supposedly it is located in a swamp near a village called Dunnsmouth, named rather charmingly as it sits on the mouth of the Dun River. Peasants.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I would be prepared to pay you 5,000 silver pieces for a collection of this artifact.
Sure. I'm sure we'll find other stuff along the way too that we can.
This artifact is the only one you're interested in.
Correct. Whatever else you may find on the way, you are free to keep.
Excellent. How far is this
Petra
Dunnsmouth?
is on board.
It is a sleepy village far from any civilization as far as I know. I'm not too much of a details man, as they say.
Oh god.
Oh no.
It's as if I've heard that before. I'm sure.
No. It is about 3 weeks or so travel if you were to go on foot. Unfortunately, this town, there are no main roads that go to it. It is surrounded on all sides by mountains or sea. So the other way to get there would be to go by sea.
Interesting. All right. Yeah. We'll definitely take the job. Everyone on board?
Yeah.
Yes, I shall exercise my sea legs.
Petra finds this agreeable.
Excellent. I am very happy we could agree on this. I have some provisions prepared if you need some, as the trip will probably take you some time.
No, it sounds great to us.
Excellent. I'm quite famished.
I have about 2 weeks worth of provisions for each of you, which is a little under, I suppose, if you plan on walking, but
Okay.
I leave all the details up to you.
Yeah. Sounds good.
We do come from good stock, so I'm sure we'll be fine.
I can tell, monsieur. Perhaps when you return, you could join me for a brandy. You and Monsieur Johnson.
Oh, fantastic.
Excellent.
And perhaps your servants could play a game of whatever you peasants play in the servant quarters as we...
Yes,
Oh,
ours is too will watch them,
Willow
so
just
they won't get into any
slowly
trouble.
smiles painfully.
Petra makes note to, rub at the holy symbol she's wearing.
All right.
Do we leave?
Yeah, I assume we.
Okay.
I go and buy 7 iron rations.
My posture
Oh, yeah.
resumes.
I guess, we probably
I
Wait,
pull a
didn't
wedgie out
keep
of
our
my
rations
The
from before.
provisions wouldn't that include rations or no?
2 weeks. It takes 3 weeks to get there.
If we walk.
I mean, yeah, I assume we have to figure out how we're getting there, but
Yeah.
it's
How
not
should I
bad
write
rush.
that down on my sheet, or does it not matter?
I assume the 2 rations won't matter because you're going to eat them on the way there.
Oh, right.
How
2
much is
weeks
an
worth?
iron ration?
A silver each. Anyway, so
Oh,
are
we
we
need a tiny little
are we
saddle for
walking or
some-
do we want to try and charter a ship?
I don't know anything about ships.
Not my planet.
I think we should just walk.
Oh. Wait, I thought you said.
Are we all agreeing to walk?
Sure.
All right, I get on top of
Wait,
Horsey.
isn't it? It's surrounded by 3 mountains, 4 mountains, and then a mouth of the
The-
river.
It's surrounded on all sides by either mountains or ocean.
And ocean is just what? Just too expensive to do, or?
I mean, we can hire a ship if you want, but that does cost more money.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is the actual impactful part of the adventure. I'm pretty sure if we walk, we'll get there.
Okay. Hey, sure. Let's do it.
Okay, so you pack your bags and you set out. I think one of you has a horse, the rest of you are actually walking.
I was going to say, I think Petra will get herself a mule.
Travel in style.
Travel in slightly more comfort.
Yeah. Alright, and you set out to make your way to the village of Dunnsmouth.
This is weird.
Which part?
Oh, just the horses galloping, and then the rest of us are just like,
Well, it's not gallop.
Well, that's also how most mixed parties are. Not everybody's gonna have a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, peasants can't afford horses.
So, no roads have been built through the mountains, so you spend quite a few days climbing harsh mountains and then descending on the other side. You occasionally have to deal with poor weather, as you can imagine, and the occasional wild animal, and even an avalanche or two. So,
It's quite an adventure.
Yeah.
let's see. Let me see your character sheet for a second. Give me some climbing checks.
Ooh.
Hired a boat. I just assumed it would be fine.
That's what I was just like. It's covered in mountains or ocean.
Yeah, but usually there's still a natural path through a mountain. It's not like they just completely circle, no gaps at all.
Look, there's reasons the Normans.
I fail.
I also fail.
I've been hitting all my sixes.
Oh, we all die before we even get there.
What is...
I was the only person that pushed back on getting a boat.
You need to roll 1.
4?
So you fail.
Alright. So I'm gonna deal out some damage as you guys have minor falls, the occasional, slip and crack something.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Willow, 6 points of damage. Petra, 3. Bindo, 4. Mervyn, 5.
Yes. Yes.
Is this all at once, or is this over days?
It's gonna be over a few days.
So then we heal some of it back each night?
Yeah. So we'll say it takes you about a week to get there, and then we'll deal out in the next week. We'll deal out damage in this order.
So we have to do one of these rolls every day?
No.
Okay.
For the cumulative damage we gain over a week.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is with the healing already in there?
For that week, yeah.
Couldn't you just heal wounds at the end of every day?
Yeah.
Sure.
So then we're just at full every day?
Okay.
Because he has 4 spell slots.
3.
Oh, okay. Well,
But I can heal 3 people, and then the next day, we can...
yeah, you can just... Okay.
Triple heal that one guy.
But I mean, I am spending spells to heal people as we take damage. Especially, Willow took half her health and damage, so she will be a priority heal.
Sure.
In those kinds of cases, and then probably Mervyn.
You occasionally run into the wild animal that, obviously you run into very frequently wild animals, but you occasionally run into ones that aren't too friendly. All in all, it's not a very pleasant trip. And as you come down from the mountains on the other side, the cold air of the mountains is replaced by the cool, damp air of the swamp, which is perpetually shrouded in such dense fog that it always seems to be in twilight.
Uh-huh.
The murky waters of the swamp vary between waist and foot deep, with the occasional hillock of dirt and shrubs. Its many trees are covered in moss and lichen, and it is impossible to escape the stench of rotten vegetation. Tangled roots, deep layers of silt, and discarded garbage from a far more prosperous time litter the bottom of the swamp. You occasionally stumble across the bit of broken pottery or a broken wagon wheel, and you often have to pull leeches off yourselves as you wade through the fetid water of the swamp.
Fun.
Let's take a boat out when we leave.
It's slow going through the swamp, as you can probably imagine. But after a little over 3 weeks, you finally catch your first glimpse of what you assume must be the village.
That last week was awful. Just terrible falls, terrible swampland.
Well, it was the falls and then the swampland,
Falling into the...
Yeah, but I assume that was all basically the last week. Everything up to it is, you're just traveling, and then we're like, alright, we gotta get off the main road here? Oh my god, this is awful.
So as you come from the mountains towards the village, the first kind of thing you spot is a small shack sitting on top of a hillock. And then just south of that, there's a dilapidated log cabin sitting in the swamp. And then off to kind of your right of that, there's a crude wooden dock with a little boat tethered to it. A small wooden raft constructed of logs lashed together. And a short distance away, there's what appears to be a military fort sunken into the swamp, looking over the village, which is a little further south. That's kind of the outskirts that you're first approaching. And it's got like a wooden palisade around it, but that has pretty much sunk in almost completely into the swamp. And inside of that palisade, there's a little barracks and a cabin and a watchtower. But it's all kind of tilted and sinking in a bit. And that's sort of the northernmost edge of the village as you approach from the north. And then there's a row of houses further south.
Is the gate to the palisade open, or do we have to...
I mean, you could just kind of...
Walk over it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is it like on the basically at like the surface of the swamp, like a dock or a pier would be?
Pretty much.
What's a palisade?
It's just like a wooden wall, basically.
So,
But it has
the top-
like a flat part on top to
Yeah.
walk.
Okay, the
Yeah.
top is flat. That's what I was trying to. Okay.
Gotcha.
I guess we approach, and I'll call out hello as we get there so we don't just walk in on these people who probably don't get very many outsiders.
Which one?
To a particular
Cabin or
building
the
or
shack?
towards the fort?
I didn't realize they were separate. I thought they were like the fort.
It's in the northern edge
Oh.
of the city, or the village.
Are we on the northern edge or the fort?
We're,
is
we're on the northern.
Yeah, that's-
we're
yeah.
north of the northern edge.
Yeah, you're approaching the village, and this is sort of the first thing you come across as you approach from the north. Is those...
the shack, the cabin, the raft, and then the fort.
Yeah.
I guess we'll go to the fort, right? Like, we're not gonna go knock on some random guy's shack or cabin.
Like, we might take note if we see anyone, peeking
Yeah.
out at us or whatever, but, the fort and then the houses past it is where we'll find people, probably,
Okay, so slogging through the wonderful swamp water, you make your way towards the fort. And
never get this out. of
Okay,
my
wait.
robes.
Sorry. Is the little raft tied up by the fort or the shack?
by the so the shack is sitting on a hill, and then directly south of that there's a dilapidated log cabin, which is where the boat is connected to a dock.
Is the cabin inside the palisade?
No.
No,
See,
we're
that's
kind
what
of
I thought, too.
before the
Okay,
fort.
no. So Willows wants to go there first, so that we could possibly use the little. Ask if we could maybe use the boat while we're navigating our way around the swamp, or is that not good?
Well, I mean, we don't even know where we're going yet because we're at the city now, so we've already made it to the end of our journey in the swamp for now.
I thought the whole city was like in swamp water, and Danny was just saying that we had to trudge through swamp water to go places.
Yeah, the entire village is in the swamp.
This is like a bayou type situation.
Yeah.
Oh,
So if we had a little raft to
you lead the way.
Okay, we're gonna go to the cabin and see.
Let's just do it that way.
All right. So you head up to the cabin, and you kind of feel like someone's watching you as you approach.
Willow knocks on the door.
So after a moment, the door is opened by a scrawny man, maybe in his 30s, with messy, kind of greasy hair and mutton chops and a bit of, what do you call it, like stubble around his chin. And he's like, "What do you want?"
We were wondering if it might be possible to borrow or rent your raft.
No.
Why?
I mean,
Who are you?
We're travelers and we're tired of getting leeches on our legs.
Well, why don't you just turn around and go back the way you come?
Willow, if he doesn't want to rent you his raft, he doesn't have to give you a reason why not.
Oh, really?
No,
Oh.
it's his.
All right.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Well, what are you doing here anyway?
Oh, great! It's a bunch of Cajuns.
We were hired to look around the swamp for a treasure of some sort.
Ain't no treasure around these parts. Why don't you just go back to the mountains, look around there?
Well, it was supposed to be in the swamp.
Well, there ain't nothing in the swamp but swamp.
That is village.
Yeah, it's our home. We don't take kindly to strange folk coming down out of the mountains and just coming up to our houses.
Well, thank you for your time, sir. We will.
Leave you alone now.
Now,
What are you looking at?
I'm just, I'm just one of these fellers, just trying to find. You ever hear about like some potion makes you all young?
I ain't never heard nothing about no potion.
Nothing. Damn, how this whole place get all ding-ding like this? Like all sung in.
It's built in a swamp. What do you expect to happen?
That sounds like poor city planning.
I don't even know what city planning is.
City planning? That's when you want, like, to make a civilization, but you put it on a place, and you plan on putting them people on down.
You should know a lot of like fancy words and big terms. You're trying to like impress me with your fancy city learning, boy.
Is there an inn in this village, sir?
Ain't no inn.
Do you know anyone who has rooms for rent?
Ain't nobody got rooms for rent.
Y'all want to get loaded?
Is there a sheriff or a mayor?
Ain't no sheriff, ain't no mayor, ain't no rooms, ain't no nothing for you.
I feel like we'll just thank you for your time, sir.
Petra already begins walking towards the fort. There's
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna.
gained here.
Yeah, it's a dead end over here.
Didn't know Moivin was such a social butterfly.
Yeah,
That's his
that's his whole
backstory.
thing.
Yeah.
You know,
And we haven't encountered that yet.
that's true.
So, as you leave the house, well, the cabin, he kind of slams the door shut. You kind of feel like a creepy gaze kind of following you, especially Willow. You feel like someone's staring at you with perhaps less than chivalrous intentions.
Don't worry, Arsus too will protect you.
Willow's gonna
Wow.
put a tree between herself and the cabin and, like, rustle around in her bag for a scarf to tie around her head to hide her ears. It's not gonna do much, but it might help.
Oh, you think it's a demi-human issue?
That
I
or-
thought it was a gender issue.
Well, it might be a gender issue, but I don't particularly...
Petra is also a woman.
Yeah, but just look at you.
Whoa.
Those-
we have no idea what Petra even looks like.
Those robes aren't very flattering.
I'm not meant to be flattering.
Kind of my point, though.
So, yeah, Willow's gonna...
Like I was saying, Arsus, just protect Willow.
It's just that you're just a little, conservative. You're hiding the goods. That's all.
Yeah, what he said.
We have a lot to the imagination, and none of us have ventured into that imagination. It's a respect thing, if anything.
You shouldn't speak for the whole group like that.
I was just talking about the
Anyway,
boys.
what's in the fort that we're going to this whole time?
Okay, so it takes you about 10 minutes slogging through the swamp to get from the cabin to the fort. You're like, man, I wish Willow had gotten us that boat. Because walking here sucks so
Arsus,
much.
I want to get on your shoulders.
Arsus lowers himself so that you can climb on his
I
back.
piggyback on Arsus.
Is Snaky like slithering in the swamp?
Yeah, he's a snake.
That's awesome.
I was like swim.
Yeah.
Alright, so you kind of climb over the palisade into the fort
Oh,
grounds.
great. More climbing.
And as you do, a older gentleman.
Once we're in the palisade, I'll get off of Arsus's back.
I stomp my boots. Wet socks. The list.
Yeah, so he's well into his 60s, quite graying, silver hair. He's wearing a rather shabby-looking uniform, no armor. He has a sword at his side and a helmet on. And both of those look like they're easily 40 years older than he is.
The constable.
It's like, don't see new faces too often around here.
Probably because rude neighbors on outside of town.
Whoa. No need to call the locals rude. He was just telling us to mind our business. That's his prerogative.
Was telling us to leave.
It's good to meet you, kind sir. I am Bendel L. Johnson. This is my good friend Moivin Supreme. This is Willow.
Is that his name?
Mm-hmm. And our holy person, Petra.
From the church.
She nods.
It's been a long time since I've seen a bona fide preacher.
They're a foreigner, so I think it might be a different kind of church. I'm really not clear on that.
Oh, maybe not want to
They
spread
still
that around, too.
they still worship Jesus, so I don't know how different it really is.
Right.
Anyway,
What brings you here?
we were sent here to look for an artifact that's rumored to be in the swamp.
Yeah, you folk come along every so often. Ain't nobody
Oh.
found that artifact yet.
I was afraid that would be the case. Is there anywhere where we can stay in town while we look?
Well, some of the people around here are a little more welcoming than others. The Doncaster family, especially, are a little bit nicer. If you head all the way down to the seaside edge of the village, you can find Joseph Doncaster's house. He's a pretty friendly sort. Best cook in the village, too.
Ooh, excellent.
Lives in a little shanty connected to the boathouse at the sea, so it's pretty hard to miss. I think they have a cousin or a nephew or something lives in sort of the main row of houses. He might have a room for you too.
Excellent. Thank you for your time, good sir.
No problem. So when you head back to civilization empty-handed, maybe you could maybe stop in at military outpost and ask if my release orders have ever come through. I mean, everyone else has left
Oh,
quite some time ago.
where are you posted from?
Which service are you in?
Normandy.
Normandy services. All right, sure.
Let's go to the boathouse. Yeah, we'll try and stop in and see what's going on with that when we go back.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go to the boathouse, guys, gals, people. Snaky, lead the way.
Okay, well, the boathouse is all the way on the other side of the village from what you gathered. So, sort of 20 minutes south of the military fort, there is a 2-story brick house on a raised patch of earth. And then behind that is open swamp, while to the left of that, there's kind of a row of houses leading southward. There is, in order, a little wooden cottage, followed by just kind of like a little shanty house, basically. Then there's a single-room stilt house sitting in a patch of water with a boat tied up to the stilts, and then a 2-story brick house, and then finally a small log cabin sitting on a hillock with an overhanging oak tree. And that's kind of the main row of houses. And it's a little bit easier to travel around that way, since most of them have some boards out or something that you can walk along a little bit. Or you could just go right through the open swamp behind the brick house.
I think we'll take the slightly longer and nicer way that goes through the middle of the town.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Because Willow's idea was amazing and didn't pan out of getting us a boat.
So as you make your way sort of around to get down sort of the main passage of the town, across from the wooden cottage that's at your end
Yeah.
of this row of houses, there's a hill that sort of overlooks the rest of the village, and there's a brick building, but it's only partially complete there. And you kind of see like a shadow of movement, and you sort of feel like someone's watching you from up there. And then as you continue southwards, across from the 2-story brick house, which is near the southern end of the village,
Yeah.
there's a earthen ridge, and on top of that, there is a small cottage with a connected stable that's kind of covered in moss. And then as you go around the log cabin at the very end of the row, you can see further down a one-room shanty house, which has a trail of like wooden posts and stones and stuff, which leads down to a boathouse. And past the cottage, you can see a limestone church with a 2-story bell tower slightly offset to the front. And, yeah, I mean...
Okay.
So, we still want to try and talk to the
Doncaster.
Doncaster at the one-room shanty with boathouse.
Okay. And it took you about an hour just to
trudge through all that.
Yeah, just to get all the way over here.
Well, that's where the ocean is.
Yeah. All right. So you're heading to the shanty house, correct?
The one-room shanty with boathouse.
Yeah.
That is before the church, but after the log cabin on a hillock.
Yep. So the boathouse is actually a short distance away from the shanty.
Yeah.
It's
There's like a little
connected by
patch.
trail.
Yes.
Yeah. And out in front of the shanty house, as you approach, you can see two massively overweight people, a man and a woman. And in between them, there's like a cooking fire, and they're like roasting some fish. And as they spot you approaching, the woman's like, "Well, hey, those are some unfamiliar faces.
Greetings.
Well, what brings you here, stranger?"
We were sent to investigate rumors of a rare artifact in the swamp.
Rare artifact around these parts?
That's what we heard.
Well, I'm Bernice, and this is my husband, Joseph. It's nice to meet y'all.
Well met. I'm Bendel L. Johnson.
My name's Moivin.
Who's the one with the bandana around her head?
My name's Willow.
Well, nice to meet you, darling.
Sivut Petra.
What did they say?
Petra. They're foreign? I don't understand half of what they say either.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Shug.
Is church occupied?
Why, yes. That's the church where Father Iwanopoulos preaches.
Excuse me?
I think that's one of those
Hey,
Greek names.
you travel with someone named Gesundheit or something.
I also, when they introduced themselves, I said Gesundheit to them, so you're right. Iwanopolis. That's a good name. Anyway, is he your sheriff?
What?
The constable? Some older gentleman with a sword greeted us at the...
Oh, he's an old soldier that was posted here a long time ago. All the other soldiers left long ago. But,
Well, anyway, he said we could... If we were looking for a room to stay in, the Duncasters might have a room for us.
well, we always like to show a little Dunnsmouth hospitality to strangers. So, we'd be happy to let you stay in the house back there.
Oh, that'd be great. How much would you like per night for it?
Aw, Sugar, you don't got to pay us anything. Just maybe help us catch some fish in the morning for however long you're staying.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
We're also told you are good cooks.
Oh, you know it. We're the best in the village.
Horses too here is really good at fishing.
Oh god, I'm trying so hard not to make a fat joke.
Even the Sampson family come down to trade food with us sometimes, and they don't like anybody.
They live up at northern side.
Oh yeah, that's one of them. Those Sampsons.
He was pretty nice, I thought.
Really?
Well,
First I've ever heard
in
anyone.
the I don't really want to talk to you, please leave sort of way.
There was more than
That
one
sounds
person
about
living
more.
there?
We passed other shanty to get to log cabin.
Oh.
Also, I think they're more saying that there's more than one Sampson.
Yeah.
Like they're spread out like a family of couple houses. You know what I mean?
We got one right next door to us in that log cabin. She's the village skiff, if you know what I mean.
I don't.
Everybody gets a ride, sweetie.
I don't understand.
And how many can we fit on them? 4, 5, and a pet snake?
She a horse?
Well, the first part's right.
It's just she's very sheltered.
Remove S from word.
What's a HORE? What is that?
How would you pronounce?
I don't know. Seems like you're missing a letter.
Anyway, I don't suppose you've heard any rumors of any places in the swamp that would be a good to look at for us? Like any ruins or anything like that? Any old military forts that have sunk all the way in?
We noticed
Well.
on our way here there was a lot of stuff under the water.
Yeah. The swamp has swallowed quite a few things back in the day. You know, there were troubled times many years ago, but that's all in the past now. but I can't say there's really much interest except our little village here, and ain't much interest in here either.
Do you know anyone who'd be willing to rent us a boat so we can look around the swamp a little bit?
Well, of course, our niece Zyla down in the boathouse, she got a couple of skiffs down there she might be willing to lend you.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, so I guess we'll go talk to her and then we'll be back to use the room tonight.
Well, that's great, sweetie. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your travel stories tonight.
Catch some fish in the morning.
Bernice, you have been just an absolute pleasure.
Oh, well, thank you, Mervyn, you sweetheart.
And you keep them big old, beautiful, soft, warm dimples in your cheeks just ear to ear.
Well, that's just basic Dunnsmouth hospitality, sweetie.
You will certainly get money's worth hearing tales from Bindel. He
I'm
has some
looking
stories.
forward to it.
Wait,
Oh.
what did you hear?
Also, yeah, I mean, some of us came
What?
from a whole other planet.
What?
Oh, no, you meant my travels. Huh. Yeah, I got a bunch of those.
You know, this planet, and then there's other ones.
What? You talking about heaven, sweetie? Heaven ain't
Oh,
planet.
you want to know about heaven?
Hell
I don't
yes.
know anything about that, but I
We've
can
been
tell
to
you.
hell.
Oh, you haven't.
Excuse
Sorry.
me?
So the church,
Oh God.
the church.
No,
I
just
start
sits down on the
grabbing Bindel and just pulling him away. He's like,
Bindel, save it for dinner. Save it for dinner.
dinner.
Was on consecrated mission.
Oh. Oh my.
All right, let's go to the boathouse. I guess. Snaky, lead the way. He always has point.
Tip of the spear.
Alright, so as you make your way down this kind of dilapidated path towards the boathouse, you can hear gospel songs being sung by a young woman, and then it turns into a shriek when a giant snake comes swimming up to her out of the swamp.
Oh, he's friendly.
Holding
He's
laundry.
friendly. Sorry, he's friendly.
I'm with you, Toots. Fuck that snake.
He can do tricks.
Yeah, like staying away from us.
So, she's probably around 18 from what you can tell. She's quite pretty, although she could use about a dozen or so more teeth. Got quite a few gaps there. And she's currently terrified of the snake that came out of nowhere, and she's clutching her laundry in front of her protectively.
Bindel makes like a
Oh,
and then like snaps his fingers and then points.
I run just to
Snakey
put myself in
goes over
between
there.
the snake and her.
Sorry.
Woo!
He's
You did me quite a surprise there, stranger. I've
see the
never
little-
seen anything that big
See the
before.
little harness? He's like a pet.
he's a trained circus snake.
A trained circus.
I got
snake.
him in
Well,
a faraway
I've never-
land. I take out like a coin and I balance it on his head and I'm like I go like this and then make him come straight up with the coin on his head.
As she giggles as she watches the show. Just to give you a quick description of the boathouse, it's got a single wooden pier that extends out towards the sea, which you can't see too well at the moment due to the heavy bank of fog. And the dock is too small for any kind of large vessel, but it's big enough to handle longboats and such. And the house itself is another little shanty about 40 square feet with the door facing the dock. There are 2 small skiffs tied to the dock.
So Joseph and Bernice said you might be able to rent us a skiff while we're in town. We're supposed to be looking for some sort of rare artifact in the swamp.
Well, sure, stranger. If you want to rent one of these skiffs, I don't mind lending it out for 2 silver pieces or a kiss.
So 2 silver pieces. Huh?
Oh well, I just give her. I give her a kiss, but like the innocent one. Like, is that so? We're doing cheek kissing?
No, it's a little lip kiss. Little.
All right.
There you go.
There we go.
She giggles and helps you to untie the skiff from the dock. So, did you mention the artifact already?
Yeah.
I just said we were looking for one.
Gotcha. Well, good luck. I hope you find whatever you're looking for. Maybe some pottery or something. I've seen stuff like that out in the swamp.
Anywhere in particular we should look?
No, not really.
Just all over the place, huh?
Yeah.
Do you have a net that we can borrow too?
A net?
Kind of like dredge the swamp a little bit?
Oh, I suppose. Let me just go look in the house real quick. So she goes up into the boathouse, and after a few minutes she returns with a ratty old fishing net. And she's like, will this work?
Better than nothing, you know what I mean?
I suppose I do.
Thank you very much. We'll be back in a few hours. Hopefully we'll find some fish, too.
Vindale's picking up the accent real fast.
Yeah, he's following my lead. Get with the locals. Start talking like them. Make out with the daughters.
Oh, God.
I got enough teeth for the
Blarg!
boys.
This is like the arc that's designed to make Robin uncomfortable. I don't know what's worse. Weird ladies with few teeth asking our ratty little friend for kisses, or the fact that Danny seems to be channeling my grandmother and my great aunt every time he opens his freaking mouth.
Oh, now I need to see a picture.
Well, I hope you come back. Where are you going?
I guess nowhere in particular.
Well, do we want to go to the house we're staying at to like put our possessions there? Maybe see if we can stable our.
Yeah, stabling the animals is probably a good idea.
Because there was that cottage under the tree that had a stable next to
Had
it.
moss on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you should want to go check that out instead of going into the swamp? That's probably a good idea.
Well, I just assumed that's where we would stable our animals.
I
Yeah,
think
Horsey is really unhappy about the
So's
conditions
Muley.
he's been walking through.
Yeah, you're right. We should
Muley's
go.
always unhappy. He's a mule.
Not to mention all the leeches on him.
Oh, I've been leeching him. Come on. I'm not just gonna leave him with a bunch of leeches like, they're good for him.
Make him stronger.
Okay.
Oh,
so-
I see. They were good enough for Ari, but they're not good enough for the horse.
Well, Ari was injured. I was trying to reduce swelling. Yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, we probably want to explore most of the town, see if we can get a lead anywhere. So we're gonna go to the cottage on the ridge with a mossy covered stable,
All right. So
which
as
is across from the 2-story brick house.
correct. So as you climb up the earthen ridge, you can kind of hear from the stables, just a little cow noise, kind of muffled.
This time I have Snaky only go like a couple feet ahead of us.
All right. So you go and knock on the door.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So after a few moments, the door is opened by a bearded, middle-aged man with short hair, and he kind of squints at you, and he's like, "Well, hi there."
Hello, good sir. I have a horse and a mule and a second mule that we need to stable.
We were wondering if perhaps, since you're only person in town with stable, we could rent services.
Well, I suppose we could make some room in the stable for your animals for an acceptable price.
Well, how much are you asking, good sir?
Maybe about, I'd say for the lot of them, we could do about 1 silver piece a night.
That seems quite acceptable to me, good sir. Quite acceptable indeed.
Petra, because she has one of the animals, will offer like 3 silver to kind of add together for the.
That's
So,
fine.
like-
I can handle this, Petra. After all, you did cure those scrapes and wounds on me from falling down that cliff.
Week after week.
I will pay for 3 nights up front, sir.
All right. Well, nice doing business with you. You can take them back there to the stable. My manservant should be around here somewhere to help you stable your animals.
While I have your attention, sir, have you heard any rumors of a rare artifact in the swamp? I assume not, because everyone in town tells us that people come every once in a while to look and never find anything, but I figured I should ask.
Well, can't say as I've heard anything about an artifact, but I do know that there's that odd traveling woman who's staying in a little stone house past the church.
Interesting. Thank you for the lead, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
It was good doing business with you, and I will see you in 3 days' time, if not sooner.
All
Hello,
right.
Petra. What's your name?
My name is Jake Dunlop. Got the only source of butter and milk in this whole village.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, tidy little bit of business.
That does sound like a good business. That explains the mooing we heard.
Plus, I don't have to get my feet wet every single day.
Must have been difficult getting cow into swamp.
Well, you know.
I do know. We came here with a horse that was miserable.
I gotta ask you a question. It's a small village. How do you butter your bread, if you catch my drift?
He makes butter
I
from milk.
don't catch your drift.
Well, I just told you we got the only cows in the village, so we make the butter, and then we
Joseph
use a
and...
knife to spread it on the bread.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. No,
I put my animals in the stable while Moithman acts like a weirdo.
So, you while you're going to the stable, you meet the servant of the family, and he doesn't look like he's actually that old, but he looks like he's just run ragged, like he's prematurely aged, basically. Eyes
From a lot of hard work.
Yeah, he's like, good day, sir.
You look like you could use a day off, my friend.
Tell me about it. Jake has me running up into the mountains to get hay for the animals almost every single day.
I was wondering where he gets the food.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
These old bones.
Well,
It's rough.
I feel worse for what I'm about to say, but Jake agreed to stable our animals as well.
Hey, come on, I'll give you a hand putting them up.
Thank you, sir.
Willow's, while they're doing this,
Is that a snake?
Well, the snake will just stay with me though.
she's
So.
gonna ask, how long does it take you to get the hay in the morning?
A few hours.
Maybe while you guys are helping fish, I could help get hay?
I don't think we'll have to worry too much about the fish. Arceus will take care of that for us.
Why don't you send
It's very
Arceus to
generous
help
of
with
you.
the hay?
Well, no, Arceus is a fisher.
Oh, well then, yeah.
Don't worry about it. He'll handle all of the fish for us. We won't have to do that at all.
Well then, would it be alright if I helped get hay?
I mean, if you want to spend a couple hours in the morning when we could be doing other stuff,
You can do other stuff without me.
I guess. I would hate to lose our elf.
Okay, never
We
mind.
will not go into swamp without Willow.
Well,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we don't have to spend time fishing in the morning because Arceus will handle it for
yes,
us.
if the group's not actually spending time fishing, then there's no point.
Yeah, Arceus will just do all the fishing. He's
But-
really good at it.
Will we be going into the swamp without Arceus?
Arceus will have the fishing done by the time we wake up every
Oh,
morning.
Arceus doesn't need to sleep.
Well, he might need to sleep, but that's on him. He'll figure it out.
I mean, it's not like you're paying him or nothing.
I'm just gonna tell Arceus to wake up an hour early every morning and get fish. He'll have plenty by the time we wake up, trust me.
How much is Jake pay you for work? Well, okay, you don't need to answer. She just wants to give him a tip that would be about, like, a day's work, for helping us out and because he has to work harder to feed our animals. So, I don't know if 10 copper would compare to that, but that's what...
I think that would be pretty
Okay.
generous.
So that's what she's going to give him 10 copper to kind of help compensate him a little bit.
Thank you very much. It's most generous of you.
We are giving you extra burden, so it's, I think, only fair.
Oh, still, I appreciate it.
All right, let's go check out the church and then the place after the church.
Good, yes, Petra was hoping to go there.
All right. So yeah, as you come to the
Can
church,
Petra lead the way on this one? She is kind of
Yeah,
excited
sure.
to visit it.
No, snake every time.
I mean, snake's the safest way to do it. Trust me.
Misses every trap.
so now that you've got this skiff, it takes you about 10 minutes, whereas it probably would have taken you about 50 to get back there.
I keep
If you were
forgetting
still
that
on
like
foot.
we can use the skiff even in town because this is
Right.
all a horrible shit.
It's like a bayou.
Yep. But worse.
So as you open the doors of the church and step inside, it's a simple little one-room church. It's got a narrow stained glass window which sits behind the main pulpit, and the wooden pews couldn't hold more than 50 people at most, and
How many Bernays Bernices can they hold?
even less.
10 Bernice's whole building total.
And
That sounds wonderful.
the priest is an older man with sort of the the typical priest look. Close cut hair. He's got the, what do you call that outfit that priests wear?
Oh, the collar and darn it.
He's got the whole
The
five.
collar and the darn it.
Yeah, that. He's got the whole setup. And do you wear your holy symbol? I assume you wear it openly,
Yeah,
right?
it's a pendant on a necklace. She wears it pretty clearly.
So he looks up and he looks a bit.
As they enter, Petra stops and utters a small prayer and touches her holy symbol.
All right.
And then Mendel just kind of sort of goes,
Lazily crosses himself.
Willow
very,
is completely unaware of anything and just walks through the door.
very lazily.
So he looks up. No, sorry.
Oh no, Moivin does the same thing. You know, he's just copying, taking it all in. I'm done.
Who are you copying?
Huh? I copy Petra. Petra seems to be the
Okay,
most.
that's, I was gonna say, because I don't know if you'd know you could, because it's been 5 months, but you might not have done that, you know what I mean?
What? You don't think we had churches on our planet?
You wouldn't have that one.
Yeah, yeah. But I see the symbols.
We literally know what kind of gods they have there. We fought one, and it was awful.
Didn't we fight 2 of them?
No.
The shark dude didn't count as a god?
No.
You don't think?
He was just
No.
Nightbed's cousin.
He was a were-shark. He wasn't a god.
So he's got kind of like a tired, haggard look to him, but when he sees the open display of faith from Petra and Mervyn, he smiles a little and he makes his way down the pews to come to you. Welcome to my church, strangers. It's so unusual to have visitors to our little town here.
Yes, we were sent to investigate a magical artifact that is rumored to be somewhere in the swamp.
I was just jonesing for some Jesus.
Well, I can help you out with one of those things.
Oh, you know where the magical artifact is?
No, I can help out with Jesus.
Oh, right.
Petra is surprised to find church in such remote place.
Well, it's our mission to bring faith to every corner of the world, and there was a
Even worlds
village
that
here,
aren't,
and-
or even places that aren't on the world.
What?
Nothing.
And this town needed a church, so here I am.
Oh, they sent you here, and you have to stay here like the other guy?
Your dedication is most admirable.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels like I must have been here 5 years already.
Feels like, or has been 5?
I don't know.
Oh, alright.
It's all a little strange around
Perpetual
here.
fug is
What do
probably
you mean
make
by strange around here?
I don't know. It's just easy to lose track of time. Days don't quite... it's always pretty much just a perpetual twilight around here.
must make difficult for tracking time.
Yeah. I mean, the locals never seem to have any kind of solid bearing of time. You ask them, it's always kind of early in the evening, late in the evening, morning, just approximates.
Right. Okay, well,
Yeah.
So how do you hold service?
Well, I stand behind the pulpit.
I mean, how do you track when is Sunday?
Oh, I just do my best,
I'm gonna...
I just kind of keep track of how many days or how many nights I've slept, how long I've been awake. Just do my best. There was a sundial at the last church I worked at, but they don't really work here.
That's great. It's good meeting you. I'll see you next time, Father.
Yeah.
Oh, the local folk. I mean, are they kind of packing it in? You seem to sound like nobody shows up to the church.
No, most of them do.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe about half of them do.
Any of them like a little off?
What do you mean?
I don't know. It just seems like your whole goal is to convert them all. So, or give them some of that Jesus love that we're getting right now.
That is the mission of the church.
All right. Well, sorry to bother you. I'll just head off with the rest of them.
Once everyone's outside, Willow's gonna say, okay, we're looking for a thing that's supposed to slow aging.
Uh-huh.
There's a fog surrounding the whole area, and nobody ever really knows what time it is.
I don't know what you're implying, but I'm thinking exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of because you guys are going to explore the house that's behind the church, right?
Sure.
While the rest of the group's doing that, I know it's probably bad to separate the party, but Petra wants to stay back and just have a chat with Father Ioannopoulos, give him some liturgical company for a little while at least.
I never have a problem with splitting the party. I like watching people die one by one.
So we don't have to spend time on
Sure.
that, but that's what Petra's doing.
I cut the
So,
rope.
I will say just a few things that Petra gathers during the conversation. Mostly it's just, the theological discussions.
Right.
But you do gather that the tax collectors haven't been out here as often as he would have expected. He's had to hold on to quite a few. He's had to hold on to the tithe for quite a while.
Oh, like the church's collection.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Oh, the tithe collectors.
Yeah.
Okay.
It hasn't been collected in what feels like quite some time. And just kind of like an odd feeling.
So that's maybe, in addition to checking on the military man's thing, we could also check, Petra will pledge to whoever is responsible for doing that, she will look into it once they leave again and see if she can find an answer regarding that.
Okay. So, as you guys leave the church, and you go around, you can see that kind of the last house on that side of the village. It's a small stone cottage sitting on a hillock, and there's like a partially collapsed barn behind it.
I'm going to head over there and knock on the door.
Willow's gonna go with him.
And I assume Mervyn as well.
It's like I was never there, listening to Petra's conversation that there's a ton of money that hasn't been collected by the type collectors.
Well, you can be there if you want, hanging out in the background, faking your way through theological discussion.
Oh, I get super bored. But I'll just follow.
All right. And you hear the occasional cluck of a chicken coming from the barn in the back. And you knock on the cottage door, but a few minutes go by without any answer.
I'm gonna go check out this chicken.
All right, so you
See a man about a chicken.
you kind of circumvent the house, walking on the hillock, appreciating the momentary dry ground as you dry out your feet. The fog's rolling in heavy from everywhere else. And, the barn is in pretty poor shape. Like I said, it's partially collapsed. And there's a few rabbits hopping around in there and a couple of chickens clucking about.
There's nothing else in here,
Just the animals.
I want to roll search.
Okay.
Where are you searching?
I will be rolling that, though.
Oh, okay.
That's how that works.
Bitch.
Yeah, you don't get to know whether you were successful or not when you find nothing.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's correct. You don't find anything of particular interest within the barn as
Cool.
you search for about 10 minutes. What does Mervyn and Willow want to do while he's spending those 10 minutes?
I want to search the cottage since no one answered.
You could break into the cottage.
No, I'm gonna look in the window first. Is the door open?
The door is not locked.
Oh.
I open the door.
All right.
Willow's
So,
gonna kind of hang out outside where she can see Bindel.
Sure. What is Mervyn wearing?
Fancy clothes.
Like some, like a nice tunic, good pants, like
Like-
some solid boots, right?
Like those
Or-
long socks with the buckled shoes, like heels.
All right.
He's like a very aristocratic looking.
Sure.
I paid 50 gold and silver for it.
All right.
Yeah.
What is your search?
It's one.
Okay. All right. So you look around, and it actually appears to be quite an ordinary cottage. Like, there's nothing really unusual here. There is a trapdoor which leads into presumably a cellar, but the ground floor of the cottage, you don't find anything of particular interest. And as he's doing that and Bindel's in the barn, Willow spots a figure walking out of the fog towards her.
Just very exaggeratedly going to, stage announce, "Oh, hello!"
I shut the door quickly so I'm outside of that thing. And then I start whistling with my hands behind my back.
So, A woman walks out of the swamp in a robe with the hood pulled up, and she appears to be a Roma woman, kind of aging, but she's still quite attractive. And she kind of looks at you, and she's like, "You're not from the village."
No, we were sent here to look for a rumored artifact that...
Ah, you too.
Oh, you're looking for the same thing, or at least an artifact.
Yes. I came here to track it.
How long have you been here?
Not quite sure. It's easy to lose track in the vicinity of it.
So it is here. That's the conclusion we were coming to as well.
I believe so, but I haven't found it yet. I was able to search a lot more often before that crazy old man moved into the house on the hill.
Interesting.
He's always watching me.
How far do the mists extend, by the way?
They mostly just cover the swamp, as far as I can tell. They don't go beyond the mountains or out to sea.
Right. I was wondering if it was only directly around the town or extended into the rest of the swamp, but it sounds like it covers most of the swamp. Or does the town cover most of the swamp?
No, the town does not cover most of the swamp.
I wasn't sure. Yes, I'm Ben Dell, by the way. Nice to meet your acquaintance.
Magda.
This is my good friend and longtime acquaintance that I've definitely known for more than a very short period of time, Willow.
There's something about you.
I'm blonde.
My trained circus snake, Snakey. And this is my good companion, Arsis. He's...
That snake.
Yes.
That man, too.
Arsis?
You're a magician, aren't you?
I prefer the term wizard. I am not a magician. I do not do stage magic.
I don't lick giant brains.
I don't know...
A wizard, then. Yes, I can see you dabble in the dark arts.
Oh, dabble in the dark arts? That is quite offensive, and I do not like your tone. I don't care what you've heard.
Oh, hey, I'm Oyvind. Sorry. Just, peeing on this corner.
You're peeing on the corner of my house.
No. Just, I'm facing outwards. Giving that old crazy guy something to look at.
You should be careful around him.
The fog is really
We
dense.
should be careful around Moyvid, or he should be careful around the crazy guy.
Both.
That's probably good advice.
I have to know, why are you so scared of the old kook?
Also, if you could just not tell them about Snake here. Versus 2, that'd be great, Magda. Anyway.
Well, it seems like he's obsessed with me. He's always muttering, following me.
Oh, like a poivin.
I have to lock. Poivin!
Word of the day, kids.
So what you're saying is that he would be a great person to check in with as a lead.
Just keep your guard up around him.
We should go talk to him and see what he knows.
Just be careful if you do
We
that.
should go rough him up and really get some good info from him.
Well, it certainly wouldn't be any skin off my back if you were to do that.
Do you have any other tidbits that we could use?
I'm afraid not. But if you ever want to exchange notes, I'd be happy to do so.
Excellent. We may very well do that. I think this would be a good time to go collect Petra before we go confront that old man on the next episode of Dorker Realms. If you know what I mean.
Well, you take the butter, spread it on the bread
With a knife.
with a knife.
Yeah, a poivin.
Next time we do that.
Yeah.
Alright? Next time. On Dorker Realms.
That's where we're at.
No, we're on this time. We need to move to next time.
That does it for today's episode of Dorker Realms. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly of all, tune in next week.